Episode 7, Video Game Small Talk. We're back again because there's video games and they just keep on coming, I guess. It's that time of year. The video games keep on coming. Patrick and Hope and James are here.
Stop coming and they don't stop coming.
Oh my god. Smash Mouth lyrics.
Hi, sorry.
What's happened? I'm shutting it down now. I've had enough of this.
Alright. Hi, I'm Patrick. I am bad. Sorry.
What's happening, Hope? How you doing?
I'm just bemused. I feel like I've got nothing to add to this excellent conversation so far.
It's already off the cliff.
It's just top tier, and I'm just going to bring it down if I open my mouth.
Thank you. I appreciate your candor in this difficult situation.
We need to be brought back to earth, honestly.
You guys think I'm being sarcastic, and I'm not.
Hey, video games, again. That's what we're here to talk about.
That's true. You've been in a Rebel Galaxy.
Yeah, I've been
outlawed in this Rebel. We're talking about Rebel Galaxy Outlaw.
Yeah, Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, which actually, as of this recording, I think comes out tomorrow.
Is that when the embargo's up for your review?
There is no embargo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is why, I streamed it pretty much the moment I got it, which was a week ago or.
And I tuned in because I wanted to see what the hell it was.
Yeah,
I still don't really know. I mean, I know that it's the space trucker, space sim,
as someone who
sort of space jazz sort
watched and didn't play, I want you to tell me how accurate my impression of it is.
Okay.
Ooh.
So it looks like a game where 50% of it is navigating menus, which is like the overworld, and the other 50% is these dogfight battles in space.
Yeah. That's a really reductive way of putting it, but yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine. That works. Yeah, so it is very much like a space flight sim, but there is a lot of sort of character to it as well, which probably didn't really come through, wouldn't have come through on that first stream, that's for sure. Because a lot of that is hidden until some of the later story moments, once you've had a bit more time with some of the characters. But anyway, just to set it up, it's the sequel to Rebel Galaxy, which came out in, I don't know when it came out, 2015, 2016?
Yonks ago.
Yeah, a while ago. And that was kind of unique in that it had a naval combat system. So all of the ships were on the same sort of horizontal plane, and you had these side cannons that you would fire out and fling shots like a long slingshot or like a cannonball, and it was pretty unique at the time. Kind of almost riding the quest of that Black Flag.
I was gonna ask if it was like the Assassin's Creed sort of ship.
A little bit like that, yeah. Except in space, funnily enough, and it had these cool trading mechanics.
Space?
And it had
Ships?
Yeah. What?
What are they called?
What a concept! And then this kind of does what some would argue it's probably the more traditional way of doing it, but also one of these games hasn't been released for at least a single player version of one of these games hasn't been released in fucking years. Unless you count Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen or something like that, which isn't going to be out until 2045.
Yeah, you can't count those games because they're. I mean, I guess No Man's Sky.
Elite is out, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Elite's definitely
they're not,
out, but it's always changing.
Finished.
Yeah, well, I think it's sort of fallen into the games as a service idea at this point almost. But I mean, not quite to the extent of other games, sure, but yeah, this is a new entry in that sort of dogfighting fighter pilot sort of field. Is that right?
Yeah, and this very much has a story from beginning to end, and it has a sort of bespoke created galaxy that everything takes place in.
Right, okay.
Rather than being something sort of procedurally generated. So I suppose from that aspect,
watching it kind of reminded me of, I think I said this to you during the stream, it kind of looked like the style and the characters in the world in a way reminded me of the way they're advertising the new Beyond Good and Evil game. It's not like they're animals or anything like that, but just that sort of hacked, makeshift sort of, I don't know,
like a Rustpunk
sort
of idea.
Yeah,
like a Firefly colony world sort of deal.
Yeah, that's and like every now and again it played sort of
country
music, and I was like, this is also like Firefly, and you're like, it's not like any of those things. I'm like, yes, it is.
there's a very sort of scrappy feel to it, like it in almost all aspects.
When we first saw your ship, I was like, what?
Yeah, it's like the ship that you start out in is very much like a junker, because the start of the story is you play as this woman named Juno, who her husband's been killed, and she is like goes to this planet to find this dude who she believes is related to the murder, and ends up fucking shooting him in the face. And he like actually gets back up from that, and this like
spoilers
crazy fight ensues, and she ends up getting away, but her ship is like totally junked in the process, and she ends up getting this like hand-me-down from someone, and
it looked like a box.
It's like a it's like a garbage, like a space trash compactor.
Don't need to be aerodynamic, so it's fine.
It's nothing dynamic. I don't know how it like. How does it work when you're still in atmosphere of anything?
That's true. You've still got Atmo flying.
It's seriously just a shoebox. But that game is interesting, and the combat's actually really great. It looks really good. It feels really good to play.
I feel like you were really high on it up until yesterday.
I've had such
the day before.
I've had such a roller coaster experience with it. My time with it over the weekend was so intensely frustrating until I hit a point. Actually, it was like late last week and Saturday, and then I hit a point with it on Sunday where I finally got past this like one set of missions that had just like, so a bunch of the story missions have may as well go from the beginning. A bunch of the story missions have these really intense difficulty spikes, and they kind of come out of nowhere because all of the game's missions have these have like a risk evaluation attached to it. So from like mild risk through to extreme, so that you know what you're getting yourself into. And the same goes with the story missions. They have these same risk assessments attached to them. So all of these were coming up as like mild or low because I'd done a heap of grinding to basically get the best ship and have it almost fully upgraded. Which I think I spent like 40 hours in game.
Jeez, that's a lot of time in that game.
Yeah, it was a long time. And not all of it great. Because
you dedicated that much time and you leveled your ship up pretty much to maximum, and you still had difficulty spike issues?
Yes, I did, yeah. And that was the frustrating bit, was because it felt like I was being funneled into having to grind to be able to get past these bits. And
was it difficulty in the sense of just like, oh, there's these really high level enemies, or was it more like, oh, here's the layout, here's this, okay.
Oh, like fundamentally overwhelming odds. Like you would just warp into, because a lot of the game is like very much find the waypoint that's set on your radar from your mission and point at it, and then hit the A button and you'll autopilot there. Or you can like sublight travel there if you really want to, but that takes a little while. And this kind of cuts a lot of that sort of loneliness aspect out of the game. It's sort of everything sort of keeps on coming at you. You would just be greeted with like capital ships and like missiles suddenly, like 4 or 5 different bogies on you.
Right, like incoming
straight
instantly?
away, yeah, like incoming instantly, and like missiles launched immediately. And just, you know, you'd be like, I'd be literally gone and dead within 10 seconds. And just like, it's...
Is that the only way to like, is that the mission start basically? Like, can you approach in a different way from like a different, like, the way I'm envisioning it is just if like an interdicted cruiser pulls you out of light speed or something like that and then just starts ambushing you. Like, is it a different...
Is there like a more covert way you could go? Is there like another mission you could complete that might get you another entrance or something?
No, that doesn't really work that way.
So it's just like if you spawned and then immediately someone spawn camped you.
Yeah, pretty much. But like, so I think, I don't know this for sure. I don't know whether or not the positioning of the ships is randomized as you come in, as you jump in. But Also, keep in mind, though, that this is pre-release, and they've been patching this every day since I got it. Like, the release number hasn't been the same any time that I've gone and loaded the game up. So things have been changing this entire time, and I'm sure they've been balancing this as well as they go. But
that's a scary thing to be doing in your week up to release.
Yeah, that's the one of the realities of game development, I suppose, isn't it? Just hitting these points where, you would jump in and you'd be like, all right, I'm going to have to think tactically. I'll try and immediately pull away from the group as fast as I can. So I'd be, you have to switch power from system to system, so you can switch between shields, engines, and weapons. And
classic.
Yeah, I know.
It's what you want.
But it's great. Like it really adds a really great element to like the tactical approach that you take to combat. And in this case, I would end up putting everything to engines and then trying to back away from the fight as much as I could. I'd call in one of my buddies, because you can do that, because just having numbers helps, and they're actually pretty effective in combat. And then trying to lure individual enemies away from the pack.
Right.
And
you're just kiting basically at that point.
Pretty much. And that was how I was able to get through it. But that was not before
an enjoyable experience.
Dying like at least 20 times. And when you die, you go back to the main menu. And so you have to reload up the save and then start again. And it's not like that's a long period. The load times in this game are almost non-existent. And I don't have a solid state drive, so it's just loading up off an old hard drive straight away, pretty much. Like within 5 seconds. It's really good. So, that part of it is fine, but it's just...
Did you feel like that was how you were meant to complete it, or did you feel like you'd kind of worked out a way to cheese it?
They definitely want there to be an element of trial and error to this, because there's no tutorial, so you don't learn at all, like, what the icons and graphs and shit on your ship do, and... You don't learn any of that straight away. Like if you watch because I've got a couple of stream videos of it up on my Twitch, and the very first one was like me playing the very first hour. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, and it was...
Seems a risky proposition.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's enticing in that way, because the stations look really great. Going through like the menu system on each of the stations is actually quite an elegant thing. Just because of the way it's presented, like they have these really nice animations behind each of the menus, and they are really effective at conveying sort of what the station is that you're at, like whether it's a refinery or whether it's like a shopping place, and there might be a wider range of things that you can trade there. Or
did you ever end up winning at pool?
No. I only played it that one time, and I lost because I sunk the black ball on the last. I sunk the white on the last.
Yeah, you sunk the black
shot.
ball and the white went in after it. I've always thought that's the dumbest rule in like that game, because
I agree.
You can just kind of like just get lucky and win at the end if the other person does that.
Fuck.
I just don't like games. Well, I just don't like pool generally. So whenever it comes up as a mini game, I'm just like, bye, see you later.
Yeah, there's a bunch of mini games in this. There's like slots and dice and
darts.
I don't know if there is darts. I'm not sure, but there's also like this little asteroids game called
cool.
Star Avenger.
Video games, you've got us back in.
Yeah, I know, right?
Video games in video games.
Video
and
games.
jazz radio stations, from what I hear.
Yeah, there's like 7 different radio stations you can pick from. But I played like the first half of the game with one of the radio stations on, and then I turned it off for the rest of it, just because the game's soundtrack is also like really indicative of its kind of Southern American style. Not like
I didn't get a good idea of the structure. Is it more like... Is it fairly open in that sort of sense? You're taking whatever missions you feel like, and then you can trade between places or whatever.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
So that's where kind of the story falls a little bit by the wayside, is that it gets pretty easy to lose some of the threads in the story because it is so open. And the game doesn't do a great job of telling you what you can do immediately. It's not until you get like some of the game's like later side missions, probably like 20, 30 odd hours into the game that it starts sort of introducing you to mining and to like these sorts of other concepts that I mean you can do it yourself anyway because you can see it because there's like if you go into the equipment bay in any of the stations you can see that there's a mining laser, you can see that there's a mining scanner, two of those things that you need to be able to mine successfully, so you know if you're curious you could just sort of jump on and do it, but in no way are you like. So you know you can find everything. It's not like everything that's there is hard to find. It's just
you've kind of got to take the initiative and do it yourself.
It's just not tutorialized until late into the game.
Yeah, pretty much. You just need to prod at it and sort of do it yourself. And I think they kind of draw that out of you in a successful way. Like it works. And really, my only frustration with it, you know, at the end of after 40 hours of it and me like. Really getting close to being like I don't fucking want to finish this game on the weekend. I've come out the other side of it feeling pretty positive on it despite all of that because it's just good. Like the core of it is good, the combat's great, the trading stuff is really great if you're into that kind of thing. It's like the trading stuff is actually really clever because it each station has like stuff that it produces and stuff that it accepts, and it will point you to a station where you can get like
good value,
where you can get good value for something, or if you can speak to a bartender and they'd be like, hey, there's this station is selling this way below market price, and then you can go there and buy up a heap of them, and then it will tell you where they commonly export it to, and that's usually a place that buys it for well above market price. So if you can work that out, you can make a fuckload of money. Which is great because then you can start upgrading your ship, and the upgrades are massively expensive. Which is
if you start with a junker, it sounds like it's actually needed.
Yeah, so. you definitely do need it, and that's part of the reason why, like, I think the opening of the game takes so long is just because you start putting all of these feelers out, and there's so much to do in the game. Fucking the review. I wrapped up my review of it for GameSpot earlier today, or at least a first draft, and. Fucking came out like 1,800 words. So, there's so much in it. So I don't know.
It's always that type of game. No, it sounds like it's like an interesting play. If you, even with the frustrating sort of end there, cool. you still come out mostly posy on it.
Yeah, so. Like even, that aside, the characters are really great. The story's like fun to see through. Juno, the main character, is like, she's fucking just way badass and sassy and doesn't put up with shit. And a lot of the characters just have like this kind of real salt of the earth kind of groundedness about them that makes them kind of charming, and like that in itself I think makes it worth sort of pushing through, but it helps that a lot of the core is really there as well. So it's good. I like it a lot. Hopefully my review will be up on GameSpot sometime soon, and you can see the score and all that sort of fun business then. I've also spent a little bit of time with Fire Emblem Three Houses.
What house?
Which
house did you end up going with? Which house did you end up going with?
I can't speak too much about it because I've only played like the first hour and a half. I spent 30 fucking minutes wandering around the monastery today.
Yeah, I know, that monastery is rad.
It is rad. Holy shit, there's so much to explore. I picked Black Eagles.
Okay, so the Beagle house.
Yes.
I never made the connection that it's beagles.
I don't think I'm planning a meme on that one, so I've got to wait a little bit.
Who did you
Apparently I chose the meme house because Golden Deer meme popularity has fucking exploded in the last couple of days.
I think it's just because they're like friendly larrikins.
Yeah. So I think I've been playing a lot more as well. But I think I want to get your sort of initial impressions first, James, because you're new to Fire Emblem as a franchise. Are you new to tactical RPGs generally, or like tactical? I don't know, SRPGs.
No,
I think they're usually called.
Like I've been playing strategy games for years and years and years. So
right.
That's
it's just Fire Emblem that has evaded your.
That aspect of it feels very comfortable to me. It's the JRPG kind of aspect of it that I haven't really connected with for quite a few years now.
Right. Did you play any like Final Fantasy Tactics or Advanced or anything like that? So mostly on the like Western side of the genre.
Yeah, so definitely mostly stuff from anywhere from like Civilization and like
XCOM,
a couple of grand strategy games to like BattleTech and XCOM definitely.
And Breach. Did you play Breach? No. Enter the Breach?
No. Into the Breach. Yeah, of course.
Into the Breach. Right. Sorry.
That was an excellent game. And Mario vs. Rabbids.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That game is way better than it has any right to be.
I know. They were so excited about it, and everyone was like, "Oh, this looks like crap." And then people played it, and they're like, "This is great."
It's a fucking excellent
game.
The
thing that's the worst about it is I hate Rabbids, right? But they're legitimately funny in that game. They are hilarious. And it frustrates the shit out of me. Like, I don't want to be laughing at some minion bullshit. But here I am. Anyway, James, how do you feel about Fire Emblem?
Well, like I said, I'm really not that far into it. I've done like the very first tutorial battle, so I've only had one battle sequence, and I'm really only just, like I said,
wandering around the academy.
I have, there's an hour and a half on the clock, and I've literally run around the monastery, talked to a few people, talked to a few students, and just kind of gotten a bit of a lay of the land. And
so why did you choose the Black Eagle house off the bat? I guess I don't. Did you look at anything beforehand?
So I didn't. No, I didn't read anything. I definitely got.
You asked for recommendations on Twitter.
Yeah, and that holy shit. If you want Twitter engagement, just talk about Fire Emblem.
It's so good
because everyone's just like, Fire Emblem. And a whole bunch of people said Black Eagle. Actually, I had a lot of different people saying a lot of different things. And
I think the other thing is that because this is like a 60-hour game for like one route, so I don't think people have finished multiple not that many people have finished multiple routes at this point either.
Yeah, which is like that's a whole other daunting side of this thing.
Yeah, it really feels like no matter what people choose, they get super attached to that choice. Which is a pretty good sign, really.
Yeah, I think the writing is like, I don't know. Again, I can't speak because I haven't seen the other houses completely yet, but like, if it's a continuation of the way it is now, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I can see why that would be the case because like the setup of it is, you've obviously suddenly got this group of characters who you're going to become closer to, who are suddenly they're set apart from the other houses. So like this is your crew and your tribe, and like you're going to connect with them and not really worry about what the other people are doing. And I think that's where a lot of that sort of passionate fandom comes from. And I think it's like that they play off that aspect, I think, really well.
I mean, they're your house, they're your family.
Yeah, totally. And I don't know, I think the premise of it is kind of cool. Not that I really know what's going on yet or what's about to happen, but like the whole idea of like the history of the three regions of the country and the way that they're all connected through this like central religious spine that is like permeates across the entire country, but they all see it slightly differently, and there's this real like intense sort of political undercurrent of, and like I haven't drawn any of that out yet. I haven't really seen any of that play out, but I can feel that it's there, and I can feel that like there's going to be something building already. And there's already like this sense of history because, at the start, your dad turns out to be like he used to be
Knight Commander or something.
Yeah, he used to be like one of the commanders to the
Church of Saros,
which is the main sort of church for the country, and that like just learning that whole connection, and I don't know, it's pretty fascinating, and I'm keen to see where more of it goes. I'm keen to play more of the combat because I've only done like the tutorial mission in that so far, and it seems interesting, but that's not really enough to get much of an idea of how it's going to play out in the long run.
Yes. So obviously I've been playing more since last week, and I'm fairly far in. I think I'm probably at 50 something hours at this point. Nice.
Are you getting close? Do you feel like you're getting close to the end?
Yeah, I've asked around. I'm probably about 2 or 3 main missions from the end, I think, for my route, which is Golden Deer. But I do intend to go back and play through the other ones, probably on a harder difficulty. And part of the reason for that is that normal really is like one of the few faults of this game is that normal really is way too easy. Like just the difficulty is far too. This almost always happens with strategy games. Like it happens with XCOM a lot, but if you can get a good foothold in the first like couple of missions, you just build and build and build and build, and eventually you're just an unstoppable wrecking ball of death.
Yeah.
And especially for Fire Emblem, like Fire Emblem is a traditionally difficult series. It's known for its permadeath mechanics and all this other stuff.
Yep.
Like this is really apparently it's even easy on hard, but I'm a little baby when it comes to that sort of stuff. So I usually start on the normal difficulty and pump it up later.
Yeah, right. Do you think that the permadeath mechanics sort of would add anything to that normal difficulty, or is that just
it does?
Does that not really factor into it? Do you think?
I'm playing with it on, but it stops things where you like I think I mentioned this last time, but you can't climb over the bodies of your comrades to reach victory because they'll be dead.
Yeah.
But this game is really generous. Something I didn't mention last week is that it does have a rewind mechanic, so you can rewind a couple of turns. It's got limited uses, that sort of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's really good, especially because in permadeath. Oh god, I remember Fire Emblems of old. You'd just be like, okay, I'm going to soft reset this entire thing and start the map again from the beginning. It's like, nope, just go back 3 turns or whatever. And it's got limited uses, so you can't abuse it. The hell, and you don't have to use it. I've never used it actually, but it's there.
It's nice knowing cool. It's there.
Yeah, I'm just sort of like, cool. And it'll make playing hard mode a little easier. So I'm reaching the end of the game, and it's post-time skip, and talking about the time skip is fine because it's all in the promotional material and stuff like that. The writing has the writing has held up, but I think I'm a little stymied because my route choice. And I think part of the thing is that Golden Deer is very much not the sideline house, but they're sort of like Golden Deer is not the main players, I suppose you would say.
Right.
The main story.
They're like the supporting actors.
They're not the supporting actors, but it's like their story is focused on
Patrick almost seemed mad that you called them that for a second.
Well, it's hard to say because this is I'm reading the chatter discourse, and even having the limited view of the other houses that I do on my current route, I'm sort of this is a story that has been designed so that every single person in it is not a villain, aside from the evil cackling people who are obviously villains. But the central characters are people who are at odds because of their viewpoints and because of their history with each other, and how that has caused distrust or a certain sense of okay, I need to do this for my own security and for my country's security and that sort of thing.
Right.
So what you've got is a bunch of people who are basically all heroes of their own story, and that I mean that very literally because they all do have their own story to be heroes of. But and it's making for this really interesting thing. But the thing with Golden Deer especially is that they're just sort of this is the world we live in, where these fuckers over here and these fuckers over here have just fucked everything up, and we've got to deal with the consequences. So their story is much more, I suppose, reactive.
Right.
It's not as personal drama based, and they're not really a personal drama kind of house in the same way that the other two houses are. They're just sort of a crew of misfits who are just doing what they can to survive in this world and sort of bring peace to, and they've got their own storylines. But I think the feeling that I have and the feeling that I think is prevailing in the community is that Black Eagle and Blue Lions are the two houses that are at each other's throats,
right.
And Golden Deer is kind of along for the ride.
Right. Fair enough.
So, but having said that, their route is still interesting because the world is so mysterious and there's still so much and of course, you do care about these characters and you care about the other house's characters. So the way that everything interacts is still very interesting. It's just a different kind of viewpoint.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Can you imagine anyone actually choosing the Blue Lions?
I can. They're a very, the first thing is their main guy, Dimitri. He's kind of like a Captain America sort of dude.
If I had,
yeah, I know.
If I hadn't called out to Twitter, I reckon I probably would have chosen the Blue Lions based off their description at the beginning, which when you first pick a house, it tells you about how they sort of lean mechanically, and the Blue Lions are the ones who are good at just the standard, fighting, sword fighting and that sort of thing, and that's generally the route that I take in these sorts of games. So I was 100% that until everyone was Black Eagles.
Did you talk with any of the students and stuff before? I
did. Yeah, I spoke to all of them beforehand.
It's kind of hard because it's it's like a meet and greet. It's go to class one day, meet everyone in the class, and then
I don't know what you're supposed to learn from that aside from
character archetypes.
Yeah, and pretty much, and aside from seeing their character card, which shows you some of their base stats and that sort of thing. Yeah. Which that early in the game, you don't know what any of that shit means anyway. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything. You could be you could be reading in a different language.
I feel that choice.
What?
I feel that choice is just sort of the developers just being like, "I'll just lop off this arm now." Like it's going to make the rest of the game work. Make a choice.
It does make it feel like kind of arbitrary, and which is obviously misleading.
Yeah. So the structure is like the first half of the game is going to be like more or less exactly the same, and then shit's going to go wild, and then once shit goes wild, like you'll have a completely different play experience. So I'm super excited to hear what other people's play experiences are like, and while speaking with actual people, because if you do it online, you just get spoiled at the ass.
Totally.
But like, yeah, I'm because yeah, like this, and what's really keeping me here now is the story, because all the stuff I was really excited about in that first half of the game doesn't fall away in the second half of the game, but becomes kind of superfluous because, like, I think the first thing is, and this is kind of combined with the difficulty, is that I don't need any of it. Like, because all the, like, first thing is you're getting skills and you're raising characters to, like, aim at certain classes so that you can equip the classes and have abilities and be an effective unit and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not, the thing is, that's just not necessary because the game is so easy. Like, I have one character who is just a giant fuck-off tank at this point, and she just walks into battle, kills, like, everyone charges at her, she deals 0 damage, she just hits them with an axe, they fall over and die.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, sweet, okay. I've got, like, several walking tactical nuke mages who are just like, I'm gonna summon a meteor from the sky, fuck you. So, like, it doesn't...
And you can't change that on the fly, can you? It's like...
You can't change on the fly, but you can change it before battles and, like, like, that sort of thing. So you can't do it in the middle of battle, but you can set up stuff in that way. And the simple fact is that just because the difficulty is so easy, it's just not worth doing that stuff unless I'm a crazy number-chasing optimizer, and I'm not going to be that for this route. I'm just sort of playing whatever, but because it's so easy, I just walk through stuff.
Yeah, right.
And the thing, it really just does expose that the persona elements of it, the monastery parts of it, where you're, and the class teaching stuff, it's kind of a victim of the fact that it is all tied into this single cycle, because, like, and that's a good thing at the beginning half of the game when you're like, this feeds into this, which feeds back into battle, and battle feeds into relationships feeds into training, and then it all just this beautiful loop.
Yeah.
But once the battle becomes completely superfluous, or not completely, but like just sort of, you're just doing it to get. I'm at this point, I'm just doing it to get to the story and to like hear new writing, which is like the really interesting stuff.
Right.
I'm just sort of like, okay, well, thank God they added all this like do automatically stuff, because I'm just like hit automatically. Have dinner with a bunch of students to raise their motivation so that the training goes better, and skip to the day of the next story battle.
Yeah, so you're finding like some of those gameplay aspects have kind of lost some of their
So I'm hoping that either hard difficulty will bring me back, or just the novelty of having different units.
Right.
Like I know that I'm all in to play the story again, to get different perspectives, and like God, I'm probably going to have to play this 4 times just to get all like the different routes and stuff like that. And I fully intend to, honestly, because this is a really good game and I really enjoy playing it.
That's a lot.
But like
hours, man.
Well, I think the thing is that everything is going to pass a lot faster. Like especially New Game Plus has a lot of like time saving stuff where you can like it carry over certain things, or you can spend currency to shortcut certain things, and I think it's going to cut the player time by like almost 2/3 is my guess, maybe more than that. Like my friend who doesn't care about story at all has been buttoning through everything, apparently got to the same place that I did after 40 hours in like 10 or 15 or something like that.
Jesus.
So if you're just in it for tactical stuff, you can just go through it like a buzzsaw, apparently.
Wow. All right, fair enough.
Yeah. So I think just overall, I just wanted to give a little bit further thoughts, which is that this feels like a first attempt at a new style of Fire Emblem, and I'm all in for the experimentation, but it really does, in many ways, feel like a first attempt.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
there's quite a bit of refinement left to be done.
There's a lot of refinement. I think the other thing is that at the upper levels, there's this is a bit going into minutia, but there's no clear paths. Like I feel like the upper part side of the game is a bit. So traditionally, Fire Emblem has only had. Is not been as open. Most units can only class into certain like you have a Pegasus Knight and they can only class into flying units or something like that.
Right.
Because this is so open, it doesn't have a good end game for a lot of units. Like stuff is gender locked for starters. Like there's gender locked classes, which isn't what you necessarily want.
That's a bit boring.
And
that's weird.
It's not outside of Fire Emblem tradition, but it is weird going from Fates and Echoes, which I don't remember about Echoes, but I know that Fates was not gender locked. Anyone could be any class that they were suitable for or whatever. So
this is all because the church is in charge.
Entirely possible.
Damn it, Cirrus.
Yeah, I think there's some stuff at the ability tree at the top end of this thing which is just not really built well, and that sort of interacts with the difficulty as well, which is probably the main complaint that everything goes around.
I'd really like to hear your thoughts on it after you've played it again on a higher difficulty.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then there's just other stuff, like the frame rate can oddly be shit. Like everything looks really muddy. Honestly, it really does look not great.
It doesn't look good on a big screen when you're playing it docked, I'll tell you that much.
The UI is terrible. Like, just from it's not too bad, but as someone who has been, like,
Have you played handheld?
I've been playing in handheld and on the big screen, and it's kind of bad in both, amazingly.
Yeah,
which is a really big achievement.
It's trying to read any of the text on the
the main problem.
A
lot of people are complaining about the text size, but I think the real problem is the kerning and the font choice. It's not a visible, legible font.
No,
that's the main problem.
Not on a screen of that size, of that resolution.
No, it's serifed. It's like got all this stuff. There's tons of wasted space. Especially the menu interfaces, are kind of like. For instance, you'll find this later when you start thinking more about reclassing and certifications and stuff like that. But like sometimes it's just that you have to dig through 3 menus to find the class points, and then the reclassing menu is separate from the certification menu, which is separate from this other menu, which all do essentially look the same thing.
Fucking Japanese games, so menu heavy. Why?
It's so weird. I don't know.
They love their menus.
You just played a game that was a menu and dogfighting.
But it was like those menus they weren't like menus within menus within menus. They're like
this mostly works at the end of the day, and I kind of adapted to it. Yeah. But like, it could be it could be refined even further. And I kind of give it a pass because it is a really high quality game for a first attempt at this style of gameplay. Mm-hmm. But I would love to see them, iterate on this.
Is this
I guess you kind of expect better from the Fire Emblem team.
I don't know, because they haven't had a proper console release in a while, and honestly, this is about the same level of quality of like Awakening and Fates in terms of menu structure and UI design and stuff like that.
I guess if they've been making they've made a lot of games. You kind of expect them to learn.
I heard an interesting thing, which is that this is actually like a fruit of the Tecmo Koei sort of union with this is like part of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms team, which is kind of interesting when you like if you do this in a battle, you hit start or plus or whatever, and it'll sort of show you that actually the whole engine is rendering everyone on it all at the same time, no matter what resolution you're at. So when it zooms in for a battle and you see the battalions of people killing each other, it's actually rendering all that, except you don't see it because you're too far zoomed out.
Oh my God.
Which is why everything looks muddy and shit.
Wow.
But it's funny. It's really cool though. No, I really enjoy it.
Decisions were made.
Yeah. No, it's a good game. I'm super excited to keep playing it.
I am keen to play more of it, that's for sure. I will be playing more after this podcast is finished, I think. Hope, what have you been doing yourself?
I'm still working on the Wolfenstein wiki, so
still shooting Nazis. What are you wikiing at the moment?
So at the moment, I'm picking up all the side quests because I've done the main walkthrough now.
Okay.
I was doing a lot of exploration stuff where I was trying to find collectibles and things like that as well. And I actually much prefer the game this way.
Yeah. How are you finding the collectibles and stuff?
Sorry?
How are you finding the collectibles? Are they actually?
I don't tend to look at them. I don't really care what they are.
Is it fun?
I just like finding them. Yeah, it is, because the level design is so great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So exploring the Wolfenstein world, and like as fun as it is to play through cooperatively, I actually think in some ways I prefer playing it by myself and just being able to like explore without feeling like I'm holding someone back or like
being held back.
Pressure of co-op.
Yeah, like I could see myself playing it through co-op again with someone for fun maybe, but like being able to really sort of look at the world, because I really like one of the things I did like about Wolfenstein on my first playthrough, Wolfenstein Youngblood, was the level design. Like that's like the highlight of the game. So being able to fully explore that's actually been really nice. Because I'm working on side quests now, I'm not really doing any boss battles either, and the boss battles are probably the worst part of the game.
Okay.
So it's
definitely one of the
it's
most
almost like I
frustrating.
found like the best way to play.
You found it.
But it's also not the most fun because it is not playing necessarily how I'd want to. I've got to do these things specifically for a wiki. I've also dropped the difficulty right down because I don't really care about that. So I don't know. It's kind of chill and it's nice to explore. It's
like a podcast game.
Yeah, to be honest, like I actually highly recommend if you did enjoy Wolfenstein Youngblood at all, then if you want to run through and get all the collectibles and just have a really good look at the world, it is actually really fun to do that. The other thing I've been playing a little bit is Gears of War 4. I've been making my partner play it with me. I bought it when it first came out because all these people promised they'd play with me, and then nobody did. And I bought the really expensive one too.
Liars.
Get a chainsword?
Well, I could have bought it way cheaper if I just bought it like for console.
Yeah.
But I bought the one that like the crossplay version digitally, so I could play on PC as well. Because like so many people said they'd play that I wanted to have it on both platforms to be even no matter what kind of thing. And then nobody did, and I got really mad because I'm a really, really, really big fan of Gears. I really enjoy those games.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a really dumb thing.
What do you like about them?
I played Gears.
I think they were one of the They had, when they first came out, just the co-op was so bro-tastic that I really enjoyed playing them. Like, at the time, I was playing it with the person I was dating at the time, and we'd just, like, if we didn't have work the next day, we'd just drink a fuck ton of mother and, like, sit on the couch and play Gears and be like, yeah, man!
Yeah!
Fist bump, steal a golden skull.
Yeah, and then, like, I kind of find the world actually surprisingly interesting. Like, the whole emergence thing, and the different classes of sort of the enemy and all that kind of stuff, and how this, the government has still survived somehow throughout all this, but not really. Like, it's not terrible sci-fi in its own little way.
Well,
So,
I mean, like the fifth one's coming out pretty soon-ish, right?
well, that's one of the reasons why I'm finally like, play this game with me, boyfriend.
Yeah, right, nice.
But it's not as good as the previous ones.
No?
I don't think so.
Where does it fall short?
And it's really hard to say because it has been such a long time since I've, like, 3 especially. Like, that was probably over, like 10 years ago now.
Jesus.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
That's a while.
It feels like it was a really long time ago. So, and I remember absolutely adoring 3. I feel like in this game, we're playing it on a really easy level because Aaron doesn't play on controller much. And, like, I don't care too much. Like, I like challenge, but I don't need it. So I'm happy just to go through and chainsaw some dudes.
Yep.
But I feel like every time I pick up a new weapon, it's got, like, 3 shots in it, and that's it. So I never really get to play with all the new weapon types. And there are some really crazy sort of guns out there that I'd like to be able to... Like, some of them I don't even get a chance to really work out even how they work because you get such limited shots and there's no real explanation behind it.
They don't, like, feed you more ammo or anything along those lines? It's just, like...
Not really.
Give you a shooting gallery.
Yeah, no, there's none of that. No, because usually what it'll be like this one enemy in that sort of room of a fight has this special weapon. And so I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to pick it up. And then I'll pick it up. It'll have like 2 bullets. And then you won't come across another one of those weapons for ages. I'm like, fuck. But
that blows.
It also, I know that Gears has kind of always been this way, but this one feels very, this room, and now you fight in it. And then you walk to the next room and you fight in it.
Chest-high wall sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they all are. Like, it pretty much invented the chest-high wall, right? Like, It was, like, one of the first cover shooters like that. But it just, like, you kind of walk into a new area and you see all these, like, chest-high things and you're like, all right, I'm ready. Like, it's just really, really obvious. And I also think that I am not as attached to these characters.
Okay.
Because this is sort of the younger generation, I guess. Like, so you're playing as, like, Marcus Phoenix's son, and this other girl who's, like, she's another character's daughter, and she was part of this like offset village that wasn't a part of the government.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're more like
the MK11, the kids.
They feel like they're in like maybe their 20s, maybe younger. And
do they shout eat?
Well, they don't have the internet, so where would they learn that?
Are they like brolicious?
They're throwing dabs every 5 seconds.
But they're not. Yeah, they're not. They don't feel brulicious enough. Like, it's not like this group of dudes, and it doesn't have to be dudes. It could be chicks, but like they just don't have that same sort of like
camaraderie.
We're in the thick of everything, but we somehow survive.
The weird bro vibe that you liked from the earlier games.
Yeah, like basically. It was something that I thought it was so cheesy, but I just enjoyed that.
No, I understand that sort of like it's like that B movie vibe, right?
Goddamn,
like,
yeah, exactly.
Bro. God damn it.
You
and that's
son
what
of
it was
bitch.
like it really felt like they die for each other and stuff like this. And in this one, like, even though now we've found Marcus Phoenix and he's coming along with us, I forget that my character is meant to be his son, because like there's fucking no chemistry there in
sucks.
any way. I'm like, they're just dudes who know each other.
Fuck you, Dad. Fuck you, son.
And it's such a small thing. There's a couple of set pieces in it where it'll get you to do something like ride a motorcycle for a bit, or recently we were holding on to like elevator cords and we had to shoot the bottom, and then we were like getting shunked up to the top of the area while holding onto these things.
Cool.
And then at those points, like, you've got very minimal control. Like, you can shoot and you can use like the stick to avoid obstacles. And those bits are never fun. And they feel like they should be. But it always just feels kind of...
The description sounds good, but I can also see how that gameplay is just like, oh, this is a constraint on everything you know. Bye.
Yeah, it somehow manages to do that and make it just kind of frustrating enough, even though... So the bicycle one, I died a bunch of times because I was stupid, and I thought I could fit through this gap, which I couldn't, apparently, according to the game.
You sure tried, though.
And then... yeah, because every time I saw it, I was like, that's the way to go. And then Aaron was like, and you've killed us again. And then one time I did it like for the fourth time, and the game clipped me through it. And I was like,
suck it.
I was like, I knew it. But
millimeter perfect, like, bitches.
It's not that they're difficult, it's just that they just feel empty.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the challenge to it just feels more like luck or like stupid fumbling than making real decisions
or challenge.
Skill. Yeah, it's bizarre. I still like it because it is still fun to shoot these guys and everything like that, and that's all fine. But they did take one of my favorite weapons out of the game, which makes me sad. So
those bastards.
Gears.
What did they steal from you?
Oh, I think they actually stole this in Judgment, technically, but this is a mainline game, so I was kind of hoping they'd bring it back. But they had a sawn-off shotgun, and basically, if the enemy is more than like a foot away from you, you may as well just be like at them as far as firing this goes, because it won't do anything.
But if you're pressed up right against them,
But if it just disintegrates them, and it'll do this for like almost as many enemies as are in that radius kind of thing.
Oh shit, okay.
So I used to do this thing, and I used to play competitively a little bit too, where I would like somersault in and just shoot like 5 guys and somersault back out again. And they've totally stolen that joy from me, and I'm really, really sad. I remember once I was playing with friends semi-competitively, and they were all bagging me out for choosing this over the Nasher shotgun, which is still in the game, which has some range on it, and is like more of a traditional sort of shotgun. You know, it can shoot not
medium
super
range,
far, but do a crippling amount of damage. I was like, no, this is the best gun. You're all wrong. And they're like, Hope, you can't do anything unless they're next to you. You may as well use the chainsaw. I'm like, I do use the chainsaw because hell yeah. But and then they were all downed in this group, and so all the horde had like swarmed around them to kill them all. And I just somersaulted in and went, and then they all exploded. And then I somersaulted back out, and we won the round. And they were like, okay, we all use that gun now. So
no,
I'm
it
really
doesn't
sad
work that way.
It's gone.
It ruins the tactics if everybody does it.
You need a mix of weapons. Okay.
But like it's fine. It's just it's by no means it does. You can tell that it's not made by the Gears of War team that made the other games,
right.
And it has the DNA, but just not the quality. And it's making me a little apprehensive about 5.
Yeah, is it the same? It's the same team, right? The Coalition. Is that who it is?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, the Coalition definitely did 4, and I believe they're doing 5.
as someone who's never played a Gears, their weird fucking story trailer, which was a floating head that didn't tell me shit.
Oh man, with
absolutely
the Billie
did not
Eilish
endear me in
song?
any way to it. So
No, and it was like I like Gears of War, and I was watching that. I'm like, this isn't Gears of War. What the hell is this? Gears of War is the
I think
Mad
it's just
World
Gears
trailer.
now, but yeah.
Yeah, Gears 5. I don't
Gears.
know. I will still play it because I have to play them all because I'm invested at this point. And
I get it.
Oh well.
I played Gears 2 one time, like in 2007 or 8, whenever the fuck it was. That was the last Gears I played, I think. I might have a copy of 4 somewhere. I don't know.
I mean, it's probably a lot cheaper now than it was when I bought it.
It's probably on Game Pass, actually, to be honest. I
And
think they're all on Game
it is
Pass,
100%
actually.
is. Yeah. So I bought it for extra no reason.
Nice.
But the Gears, so as dumb as all this is, and as much as I'm like, I'm not that excited for Gears 5 now, that Gears 5 Xbox console is so damn attractive.
Why? You've got it. You've got one.
Is that like kind
You
of
need a new one?
the
What's
white
up?
kind of stony grey?
Yeah,
looking
and it's
one?
got like, it looks like frosted over snow, and there's like the
I
skull
saw the
that's beneath
controller
like
for
the
that.
ice
Yeah, I
crack.
haven't seen the console, but I saw the controller.
The
for
console's
that. The controller looks nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got this whole frosty look about it. I mean, my current Xbox is an original model. It's actually the Halo 5 Collector's Edition. I'm a bit of a sucker for these things. My Xbox 360 was the Gears 3 one.
Nice. You know what was great about the 360? How you could change the faceplates. Remember that was a thing?
Nope.
Yes, I do. I sold them
Absolutely
at
not.
JB Hi-Fi.
Customizable consoles. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Could
I'm
you
like,
slap a
that's an
watercolor
Xbox
in
One
there?
X. I don't have an Xbox One X, and that's a really nice Xbox One X. And then
well.
the other part of my brain is like, you know what? You also don't have money to buy that Xbox One X. I'm like,
Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
explain how.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
I've been playing... What else have I been playing? Not much.
Builders 2?
I've been playing a little bit more Dragon Quest Builders 2. Really just sort of progressing that island.
Fair.
And building up my little farming community. It's still very much the first island. This is going to be like one of my slow burn games, I think, that I just sort of... It's going to be my relaxed chill game that I come back to every now and again. So hopefully I can provide sort of periodic updates as to how that's going. But I'm still really liking that game a lot. It's very charming and very cute. And I wish the building felt a little bit better. It's a little bit awkward from the third-person view, and the first-person view's got like a really strange field of view that kind of makes me feel a bit sick. It's a bit similar to the problem I had in... It's because I've got a massive TV. Don't play first-person shooters on like humongous TVs because you'll have serious motion sickness problems. I couldn't play Wolfenstein Youngblood on my main TV. I had to play it in like on another TV that I've got here in the back. That's
First person
smaller.
with a huge FOV is like a problem.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Well,
I
like a
used to
really
play...
narrow field of view is where I have the problem. Like if it's wider, it's better because then like you can orient yourself a little bit more. But if it's so narrow, it's like really difficult.
Is it because when your TV's so big, it's like making you bigger than you would be?
It's that, and plus it also takes up so much of your view that it takes on the effect of motion sickness, which is like when your brain thinks that you're moving, but your body doesn't feel movement.
Yeah.
So suddenly it thinks that there's something wrong, and it thinks that you're
Freaks
poisoned
out.
or you're hallucinating or something, and that's what makes you feel nauseous. It's like it's trying to make you vomit up the poison that's making you hallucinate these feelings, which is like it's really fucked up when you think about it, but also like
Thanks,
it
Brian.
makes sense. Yeah, thanks,
I
Craig.
really enjoy that like video games have come to the point now where we think we're being poisoned.
Video games. That's sweet poison. Patrick, you've loaded us up with a whole fuckload
Yeah.
of news.
I'm going to just tear through most of this because it's pretty much just like speak it up real fast.
Yeah, hit us.
News us, newsboy.
Like there's some fairly in-depth stuff, but I haven't investigated a lot of it. But we'll just start with some easy gets, which is EVO 2019 happened about a weekend or two ago. So that's the Evolution Championship Series, which is the world's premier fighting tournament. I did the live blog for The Guardian, bit of an experiment. Not sure it worked out. Yeah.
No?
I did. Like, it was fun. It was just a play-by-play sort of thing.
Yeah,
so,
right.
like, they do tennis blogs, they do sports blogs. I was just like, why not do a fighting game blog? Someone's like, do it. I was like, oh, okay.
That's rad.
It was pretty fun, but yeah. So, as usual, there's a whole bunch of announcements out there as well. News comes with news. There's a whole bunch of characters and DLC for various things. Street Fighter has a whole bunch of people who leaked on Steam. Mortal Kombat, Unist, whatever. All sorts, it's not worth going through because we don't play any of those games, unfortunately.
I used to play.
I have no opinions on this.
I used to play so much Mortal Kombat when I was a kid, and I haven't played Mortal Kombat in so many. I haven't played an actual fighting game.
I actually want to play 10 and 11 just because it's got like this story mode stuff, and I'm kind of interested in how dumb that can be. Because it's just stupid.
Yeah, I've always loved the Mortal Kombat stories. Like I used to love the whole idea of the Netherworld and Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn fucking stealing souls and
it's just again and video games kind of get stuck at this tier of story most of the time, but it's just this like B grade story that is just fun to if you're just watching a whole bunch of slasher fix or something like that.
One day I'm gonna watch the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yes,
you should.
I want to watch the Street Fighter movie. I've never seen the Street Fighter movie.
Oh, really?
I've only seen the Dead or Alive movie.
Oh,
the Street.
That's going to be a lot of bouncing.
That probably says
the Street Fighter movie.
Too much about me.
I think Ginny would have fun with this one as well. That's my guess. There was actually a fair amount of new games announced, actually. So I think the big one that could probably be interesting in the future when more details are announced is that Riot is making a fighting game. That's the LoL people, the League of Legends guys.
Oh, yeah,
and they're making it with the Rising Thunder guys. And the Rising Thunder was a dev team that is the brothers who invented GGPO, which is like the premier internet fighting lag correction system, basically. Yep. Yeah, network code system. And it used to have Seth Killian, though I think he left, who was one of the big dudes over at Street Fighter at Capcom for a while. Big pro player, big commentator, very well known in the fighting game scene. So the developer French Bread, who made Under Night In Birth, EXE, Late EST.
Why would you call yourself French Bread when you could be French toast, which is so much better than a baguette?
They're a Japanese Dojin circle, so they probably have no idea. They're just called French Bread. Get that French bread. They're making a sequel called Under Night In Birth, EXE, Late CLR. It's probably going to be called Uniclair? I don't know, whatever.
Uniclair?
Uniclear? I don't know. Uniclear. I think Uniclear probably is what it's going to abbreviate as. SNK came out with King of Fighters 15. They announced that. Arc System Works has a new Guilty Gear game out next year.
That trailer is amazing looking.
Yeah, Guilty Gear already is the forefront of 3D and 2D merge.
Yeah.
And that trailer was pretty crazy.
Damn.
So during the EVO 7 finals, EVO itself, the organization, played a little clip which was so David Hayter is the voice actor for Solid Snake, and you can go pay him on Cameo to say whatever the hell you want, and he'll say it. So he just said, that's some good-ass Tekken, but because this is EVO, because this is the main stage of a tournament, because this is a place where new characters are normally announced, people were like, oh my god, Snake's in Tekken! So,
yeah.
Oh, that's right. So, I saw that was reported too.
I do remember. Yeah, I saw people on Twitter were saying that he was in Tekken.
That was the organization themselves doing it, and they came out and said later with a sort of shitty tweet that was we didn't clear this by anyone. It was just our little joke. And David Hayter was like, don't do that. Yeah, and don't. Harada was like, I had to go to apologize to some people at Namco Bandai because of that. So
wow.
Yeah. In terms of actual watching the tournament itself, obviously the whole thing is really fascinating if you're into fighting games, but in terms of recommendations, I would probably say Goichi versus Sonic Fox, the winners finals and grand final for Dragon Ball Fighters. Incredible stuff. That one is really really good because Goichi and Sonic Fox have been fighting in tournaments since the beginning.
They've been playing against each other for ages.
Yeah, they've been up. Sonic Fox is obviously, I think, so last year when he won Dragon Ball, he defeated Goichi again for last year at Grand Finals, and he tweeted, "I'm gay and I'm the best Dragon Ball fighting game character fighter at the world." And this time he voted, "I'm gay and I'm the second best Dragon Ball fighters guy in the world."
That the fight last year was quite. A lot of people didn't believe that Sonic Fox should have won because he did a chair swap
last year.
mid-match.
It's part of the rules. Like, what are you going to do? It's like that's part of the thing, and like
like if that throws you off your game, then like what if the whole reason he was losing to begin with because his chair was super uncomfortable? Like I don't know. I like Sonic Fox. Like he's very much himself, and he's a bit cringy.
He's unapologetic for it.
Yeah, I'll give it to all the people that find him cringy because he is. But
didn't he win the? Didn't he?
He won Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
he won Mortal Kombat. Unfortunately, I watched most of Mortal Kombat, and I have to say that was really boring. I don't like watching that game.
No,
it's stiff.
It has terrible animations.
It just looks bad. I don't like it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, those games don't
I haven't
look
watched
good.
any of them.
So I kind of still want to play it though, so which is weird. But so the other thing to watch, Arslan Ash, who is the sole Pakistani player, I think he romped his way through EVA Japan and in Tekken, and then he came to the world stage and defeated Nii and took Pakistan to the Tekken Championships, which is really amazing.
Nice.
And then Smash Ultimate finished off the set as well. MK Leo, who is a fairly well-known player, again, one of the bridesmaids sort of players who's like always gets to top 8 and then flunks out. This time he got his way all the way from loser's bracket all the way back up to the top and fought this fucking back and forth with this guy Tweak. I think it was Pokemon Trainer versus Joker, and it was just so fast. It's so furious. I
saw some highlights of that fight. I think it was like
so
Michael
crazy.
Ryan from GameSpot on Twitter was like there and posted a video of it from him in the crowd. So I think I saw some of the fight that way, and it looked pretty wild.
Yeah,
I wish that I could understand Smash Brothers on any level so that I could watch it and appreciate it, but I just do not.
It was such a fucking furious fight. He like was down and loses, so he has to win twice to reset. He has to win once to reset the bracket and then win again to like win the whole thing. And he got his way back from a 2-0 deficit, I think.
Wow.
Like all the way back up to Grand Finals. Completely just stomped Tweak when he got back to... it was fucking fantastic.
That's awesome.
And then Bonchan taking the EVO Street Fighter crown. He was a Grand Finalist in 2014 or 15, lost out to Luffy. That was just incredible work. Good stuff.
Redemption.
Yeah. And then sort of there was... A fairly dark side to EVO this time around as well. I think the more visible side from...
A dark side in video games?
Well, I mean...
I don't believe it almost.
EVO is kind of this interesting thing in that it's very community, grassroots sort of feel to it. Like most of the other tournaments, especially the ones with $1 million prize pools, are set up by corporations and they're very shiny, very like, even with Battle Royales and the new thing, but even when LoL was still around, StarCraft was still around, lots of people in suits, lots of high money. And this EVO was much more about sort of weird collegiate party sort of atmosphere.
Yeah, right.
And sort of the downside to that is that there was a couple of more visible sexual assault allegations at this one.
Fantastic.
So friend of the side.
That's not what you want to hear.
Yeah. And then another woman, Anna SMGX Princess Black, said that they had been like roofied basically or sexually assaulted. Well, I think Zareen wasn't roofied, but she was sexually assaulted, and a friend of hers stepped in to defend her, and there was a fight. I believe SMG Princess said that she got roofied, and there was a man there who said he like basically drinks tradings happens at parties and stuff like that, and said he woke up completely blacked out and
fuck.
What
the fuck, people?
Why have people just got to be such pieces of shit?
Yeah,
and it's like all it takes is like this one fucker as well, like
right
to spin this entire thing around and like fuck.
Evo is like definitely, I think, as a whole, making trying to move much more towards making like Evo has always been a very minority friendly environment, especially compared to the majors, which are mostly Asian and European dominated. But But Evo especially is very big in the Black community, in Latino communities and stuff like that. But the sexism stuff has always been a huge problem. There was a series of panels actually run this time around, and one of them was, sexism in the FCG and like why women, and there was sort of like a reaction to that, and most of the reaction from what we would call the established fighting game community scene was fairly, like on the side of women basically. But the thing with the FGC is obviously that a lot of it is grassroots, and a lot of the grassroots was fairly unpleasant in that sort of exchange.
Great.
So still a way to go. The other thing, of course, was Infiltration winning Samurai Showdown. Infiltration is controversial, to say the least. He was a very big Street Fighter player for many years, but he was dropped from the Capcom World Tour and from his team last year in December, I believe, because he was convicted of basically assaulting his wife.
What the fuck?
Oh, man. Like, can you just not let these people in?
Yeah,
right.
What the fuck?
Because if someone like that is at the event, that actually condones these actions that other people are taking.
Not only was he at it, he fucking won Sam Show, and then Evo put out a tweet which is just like triumphant return. It was like,
wow.
Maybe you fucking watch that shit. Like,
read the goddamn room. What the fuck?
Like, if you have that happen and then you have women assaulted at your after parties.
Well, this was at a Red Bull after party, which is like vaguely related, but still, yeah, But
like,
it's
you can't condemn it with one hand and then support it with the other. Like,
there's always fucking room to go. There's a lot of space that we gotta walk.
I swear to God, if anyone assaults me at a fucking con, I'm gonna rip your fucking bones out of your body.
Go for it. Just Mortal Kombat fatality their ass.
Like,
sell it to NetherRealm.
It's just because I've got like all this residual rage from this industry and watching this shit happen to other people.
Dude, when I was saying I was taking the live blog, the person who was tutorialing me was like, okay, so if God forbid there's a mass shooting, and I was like, oh my
wow,
God.
God damn.
Like, this is the sort of thing you have to think about, unfortunately, when you're covering events now.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Speaking of mass shootings, I might actually jump ahead to this one, which is obviously there was the tragic events in El Paso over the same weekend, and one of the weird things that happened there was that Republicans all just fucking started going straight in on video games for some reason.
Is it fucking 1996 again?
I don't think there's too much to say, because I think from a sort of tactical standpoint, it's just sort of like...
It's just scapegoating.
Yeah, it's scapegoating. All their shit they're saying is dumb.
There was the Walmart who stopped stocking violent video games, but still sold guns.
Good times. Under the back-to-school moniker, which is my favourite part of that.
Oh, God, I saw that image. What the fuck?
I don't know. I don't necessarily know if it's if that's our space to comment on America's fucking issues, but
it's hard because we're not in the United States, and we're also pretty of the position that
Yeah, I mean, we're Australians, and we
have
talk shit.
What the fucking
history.
fuck are you fucking doing, you crazy fuckers?
But, yeah. I don't know. I just wanted to mention that was out there, and obviously there's people out there who are refuting with facts, but I don't even know if refuting with facts is really the way to deal with this, because they just there's no honest engagement here. They're not saying video games. They're not people sitting down and thinking that video games are the problem. They're just people who want to deflect the attention from guns.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's just it's just scapegoating.
They will not dictate the conversation. There's other news around that is actually more poignant. Ukes. What happened to Ukes?
Ukes is off the WWE franchise from who's that with at the moment? 2K?
Yes.
Yeah, so Ukes have historically been the WWE guys. I just
studio?
want to mention this. Yeah, Japanese
Wasn't
studio.
the last WWE game not well received at all?
I don't think any of them have ever been well received. They're very bad.
Okay, but like I know that.
But people buy them because
enjoy
they've got the
them.
license. So.
Just for the WWE, and maybe they just enjoy it for a bit of silly fun.
Yeah.
But I think the recent one was the one that was full of microtransactions or something.
Oh yeah, I'm just kind of excited because I actually like spin-off things from WWE games, like the Video Game Championship Wrestling, which is my favorite thing. So the idea that might be good one day is kind of cool, but apparently they're still keeping with the engine, so who knows?
I remember a day when everybody used to play wrestling games. I used to play fucking wrestling games when I was a kid.
N64 days, man.
Yep, that's it. Like,
I have not played a wrestling game.
I think the closest to a wrestling game that I would play is Gang Beasts at this point.
Gang Beasts is awesome.
I'd really want to see like some sort of wrestling management game where you're coming up where it's like it just breaks the kayfabe wide open and starts talking about like, okay, you want to book like this, you want to like draw fan heat and draw attention, and you want to plan storylines this way.
You're the heel, act like it.
Yeah, exactly. Like some sort of management planning game where you have to run this carny bullshit. That'd be cool.
That would be super cool.
Like basically Glow the game.
Yeah, it would be really cool because you have to like run a successful television series or something like that. You know, like combine it with a VGCW where you throw randomized AI into matches with each other, or like you can maybe train the AI or something.
Make it in the Fire Pro engine.
Yeah, there's room for.
They could release amiibos and you could train them.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet I could. I don't know. I bet I could do something in Game Maker somehow. Like just menu based the whole thing, just Football Manager Championship. I don't know. Anyway, no, that'd be cool. So this next article is on the ESA leaking everybody's shit, and this is
another what the fuck.
This is a huge, and
everyone,
I think this is
video games are on fire. Everybody, that's what I need you to understand: is that everything is on fire.
So,
and not everything is necessarily okay, especially where the ESA and E3 is concerned.
Yeah, so
my world's on fire. How about yours?
I've never been to an E3, so I'm definitely not on there.
No, I mean I'm not on there, but we started with a Smash Mouth thing, so I could work another one in. No, so this is really shit because not only have all these details of people who've attended E3 for the past 4 or 5 years been online for the taking, but also the person who broke the news just went straight to YouTube.
Yeah, very bad reporting.
So then everybody knew about it.
Yeah.
Which means that sites or people who want to attack game personalities for whatever reason suddenly have all their details. And I was hearing reports that on these sites,
a lot of people are getting doxed,
yeah, now we can get them and things like that were showing up, which is terrifying. A lot of people have to use their home address for this stuff because, you know,
freelancers, no office addresses, PO boxes, whatever.
Whereas apparently some other outlets knew about this for a couple of weeks before this was leaked on YouTube and were keeping it under wraps, trying to get the ESA to fix it, which in some ways is worse because the ESA hadn't even fixed it.
But the ESA also went out and were like, "Oh, we made a mistake and this has never happened before." And then like 2 days later, they were just like, "Actually, the last 4 years have been just exposed on the website." It's like not encrypted, like certainly a foul of GDPR regulations. Oh god, what a fucking mess.
If anyone,
I've been hearing talks of like class action lawsuits and things.
I've heard grumblings about that. I haven't heard it.
I've not heard anything official either,
any further, but
I wouldn't be surprised if this is a death knell for the ESA in some way, like maybe a drawn-out long one, but I think this is an opportunity space for some sort of larger organization that thinks they have enough clout to start, I mean, obviously you've got BlizzCon already, you've got
ReedPop.
Bethesda does their own thing once in a while, like maybe someone is going to try and get their shit together and just steal that perch from the ESA because I think
E3's kind of been dying. As it is.
I mean, we've been talking about the death of the E3 for 3 or 4 years at this point, not us specifically, but just games journalism as a whole. And this is just an opportunity. If I was a big corporation, or if I was a Sony or a Nintendo even, and I was just sort of like, oh, we could bring back Space World or some shit like that. They're all going for their own direct plans these days or hiring at theater shows when they want to show off their new thing. And just because there's 2 game consoles coming out next year, or like most likely coming out next year, doesn't mean that you need E3 anymore.
No, it's not required. Not required at all.
Like the landscape has changed so far.
I could definitely see them sort of collectively coming together and being like, "Hey, let's have a hype week where we all put our shit out," or like over this sort of period. I could see it all like forming in that sort of.
But it's all like digital or something.
Yeah, like
or
totally.
Digital, or even if just we're going to do it, but the ESA isn't involved.
Yeah,
if they turn it into. Like, I haven't been to an E3, so I can't really speak to how they are, but I could see them turning it more... I mean, it's been going this way for a little bit now from my understanding anyway, but if it's more of a convention with shows than big announcements and things like that, they could make it into something more profitable as well.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where E3 lost its way. It was when it started opening up to. I mean, in many ways, like by design, it was never going to stay around, but it's sort of turned into more like a Comic-Con.
Yeah,
I guess.
And I think if it lent into that even harder, that could be like, I don't necessarily want it to be this way, but it could be a viable business thing.
Maybe, yeah. Like the traditional value of E3 was like the backdoor meetings and the backroom meetings that like people would have and publishers would have with developers, and it was very much about face-to-face meetings and the industry coming together and discussing next steps and like future deals and that sort of thing. And that's where a lot of that's why the press went there, was just because suddenly the entire industry was coming together and there was all this news happening, and if they could get a bite of it, then like you could spin it up into this huge thing. And that's why E3 turned into what it is now. But just, with the homogenization of like streaming tech and like just the easy way,
and the shift of audiences as well.
Exactly, like the ease of which they can put out these heavily controlled marketed messages. It's a no-brainer for them to, and especially in the light of this, ridiculous thing. By the way, if anyone wants to go and read some really great reporting on this, go to gamedaily.biz. Mike Fudder's done a really excellent job.
I'll shout out
putting this together.
Yeah. I'll shout out Waypoint's Rob Zachney as well, who's put in a very good thought piece on the ESA and its place in the current landscape, which is probably that it doesn't deserve to have one.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it turns out as well. Like, there's a lot of people who are pissed off about this, and
they should be. That's people's safety. That's people's lives.
Yeah,
it's super important. A lot of people on Twitter almost seem to be like lol about it in a way, and I was like, you guys don't understand how dangerous this is for some people.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really, like, even in the shadow of what started
swatting.
Back in 2014. Apparently, speaking of swatting, apparently that Fortnite world champion winner was swatted live on stream yesterday.
Fuck?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right. Don't fucking play games on the internet ever.
Oh my god!
In the light of that, it's just I don't know. There's a lot of crazy shit going on. E3 probably not going to be around for too much longer, but we will see.
They've booked the convention hall already for next year, so I think, right? So they usually put the dates at the end, so they've got to put something in there. But who knows what it'll be? It's going to be a Red Bull truck or something.
Probably.
Boost Energy, sorry, I forget which one is current.
Red Bull E3, sponsored by Monster Energy Drinks or whatever the fuck. Ninja.
So this one...
That video of his...
Ninja rich, for starters.
Yeah,
Ninja, very rich.
I mean, he's always been rich, but I'd love to know.
I think it's very smart to cash in now and convert it into something upfront instead of doing a month by month and relying on subs or whatever.
I want to know how much Mixer's paying.
Yeah, how much money do you think Microsoft paid him to go from Twitch to exclusive Mixer streaming?
Couple mil, right?
At least a couple. I would say more, like
50, 100?
Nah, 10 maybe.
I'm really terrible at comprehending money that's like more than $20 because I've never seen it. But I reckon it's going to be like probably under 50, but in the tens.
I'm wondering if there's promotional work with, for instance, he was a Halo player before he went to Fortnite, so there might be some promo work with Infinite or whatever.
That's a really good point,
It could also just
actually.
be, it could be that it's not even the money that's caused him to make the decision. It could just be the stability.
Could be. I mean...
Yeah, well, like I said, I would take an upfront payment right off the bat against anything like Twitch or YouTube where the, I don't know, regulation and rules is a bit more weird. Although, mind you, Mixer has its own, what was it? You can't show strap tops or something, or some bullshit clothing shit. I don't know.
What's
Puritan shit?
Confusing rules. If you do wear a strap top, I think you have to be on an 18+ stream or something.
Oh wow, really? That's
weird. In a sense, I like these platforms having the rules.
Yeah, clear guidelines, but also maybe not our flavor of guideline.
Yeah, because it's difficult as a female streamer. I used to stream sometimes in a singlet, because it was hot. I live in fucking Australia, But I also have, like, I'm a 10G. These are not small. It does not take much for it to look like I'm trying to be a titty streamer when I'm really just trying to wear a singlet.
Yeah, sometimes women have boobs and like
it's strange that
go anywhere. What are you supposed to do with them? Seriously,
you gotta take those off first. You gotta put them to the side. You gotta just have like one of those, just a sensor bar just there the entire time.
Well,
make it look even worse.
I'll just try to make it like so that it's just like my face area on webcam, but then if I do like it's just, I don't stream that much, but do you ever get the feeling that the technology and the norms of the technology are dictated by people who don't know what the fuck's going on? Yeah. Do you know, just a little bit. But like in a sense, like
design, maybe.
I feel like Mixer, it's still kind of new. It'll have enough people be upset about whatever rules that they'll change, and they'll find some sort of happy medium or some shit.
Felt like Mixer was going to into oblivion.
Shit.
Like I hadn't heard anything. Like it's there on the Xbox dashboard, but you know, I never used it. It doesn't mean nobody was using it, but like you don't ever hear of people going, yeah, I'm going live on Mixer. Like,
well, Microsoft has definitely put Mixer back on the map, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
So money well spent as far as I can tell.
Smart way to do it.
And Twitch is pretty angry about it, I guess.
Oh,
so yeah,
yes.
Twitch promoted a not safe for work channel on Ninja's account.
Nice.
I don't know exactly what it was.
They like
it was
unflared him
described
the second he took the deal or news broke or whatever, which I think is funny. Like obviously that had to happen because he took an exclusive deal, but like the moment the news broke, someone was like, hit the button, get him the fuck out of here.
I do think it's dodgy as hell that they're doing things with his account,
They shouldn't do
That's
that.
That's
pretty
mad.
bad.
Yeah.
That's like
Ninja got
faith.
super duper mad.
Yeah.
I would too.
Which is fair, like rightly so. And I think they've stopped doing it now, but the fact that they were just like, our boy, his channel's ours, we'll promote things, like, wow.
Corporations are all smiles right till they're not, man.
You know what's funny is that Ninja took a lot of money to go exclusive, and we don't hear of all of the weird, crazy, insane abuse that the Ooblets developers got from accepting a bunch of money from Epic to go exclusive on the Epic Game Store. And I know this
stuff is fucking wild.
I know this isn't in the show notes, but I just made the correlation in my head, and I had to bring it up because it drove me insane sometime last week to read that the developers of Ooblets were coming under fire from such incredibly hateful comments and suggestions of this
why do
harm
people
because they accepted they accepted some money from Epic to be able to finish their fucking game that they've been making for years. Like, are you kidding me, people? Why?
I don't
go ahead, Hope.
The loyalty to Steam.
I don't get it either because everyone fucking bitches the shit out of Steam because it's garbage in many ways.
It's a platform.
I've got Steam. I've had to have things like Uplay and shit like that for ages now because that's just the way it is. It all runs on my computer though. It's not like I've got to buy a different thing. I
think people have this weird, slightly better understanding when it's like, oh, we own this franchise lock, stock, and barrel already, so of course we're naturally going to, I guess that's what, Nintendo and that sort of stuff has always been a bit more, so it's already baked in, but I guess what people object to is this perception that EGS is swooping in and picking up people who are already on multiple platforms and then being like, okay, now you're locked to us. But it's
still your computer, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think the Epic Games storefront is kind of shit compared to Steam, and Steam is still shit compared to where a storefront should be in some ways. But
for sure, but the two things are so actually.
Aren't you motherfuckers free market?
Yeah, right. And the idea that people justify a lot of this abuse on they're like, oh no, it's because they're sellouts and they're accepting Epic's money and Epic's a horrible billionaire games company. Yes, they are somewhat problematic, especially in the way that they treat their Fortnite developers, but you can't they're not one and the same thing. What you're yelling about and the people that you're abusing are a husband and wife team who have just been creating this game for years, and the they were saying, like, in their Medium piece that Ben, one of the developers, put out, he was saying that, like, their Discord the weekend that the news came out just grew, and they were getting angry messages from people who had never even heard of the game before. Like, so these are people who were just going out there and getting super upset and projecting some sort of wild sense of ownership on these complete strangers, like, over something that they'd never even heard of before. And like, oh my God, you guys, what are you doing? Why are you so angry?
Can't we just want developers to get paid?
I mean, these have to be people who don't understand the realities of life, who don't understand, like, the realities of what it means to, like, have a job and pay bills and, like, try to responsibly live in, like, some
games come from a magic cable in the wall, man. Like,
I know, right? They come from the magic tree, the magical games tree. John Romero planted it back in the 80s.
Don't talk to me about John Romero.
Can we not talk? Is there something else here that won't piss me off?
Codemasters have put out some new trailers for the new Grid game, which I know you guys don't give a flying fuck about, but I'm super fascinated about.
You know something? I'm really happy to not give a flying fuck about something for the next 10 seconds.
Default neutrality is so much better than the position we're already in.
It's like the only reason I put it in here is because it looks so old school that, like, it looks like something straight out of 2008, and I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of down with that. I want to see how this turns out. I hope it's good. Apparently, Grid 2 was delisted from Steam today, which is weird.
Wow.
But that seems to have been happening a lot lately. Apparently, DuckTales Remastered is going to be delisted at some point, or may have already been. And it's only been out for a year.
Love archival history.
What?
It's good shit. Sorry, Hope. We somehow veered back into
digital
shit
future.
that'll make you feel bad.
So, like, one of the arguments that I've heard people use about having this dedication to Steam is the certainty that they're going to have those games forever and it's not going to be a problem.
That's not true.
And so, like, this is just another example of why you shouldn't be loyal to Steam. Like, not in a stupid way.
I was thinking about someone brought up Transformers Devastation recently, and I completely forgot that people can't buy that anymore because Activision was like, "Fuck the Transformers license, bye."
Oh yeah, wow, holy shit!
And that game is good. That's one of Platinum's decent B tier games. So
that's right. I remember that when they pulled that off Xbox, and it was a big deal. Everyone was like, "Hey, what's going on? Why is this game disappearing?"
Yeah.
Anyway, on to some more video game related news, but actually around games stuff, positive game stuff that is happening. No Man's Sky Beyond, which is like their huge update, which includes like the big multiplayer stuff. Like apparently there's like missions for up to 32 players. It's a big hub.
They're going to be like a raid, I guess.
Yeah, something like that, I suppose. There's a big hub world called the Nexus, which you can greet up with people. It's kind of very similar to like Destiny's Tower. You can like ride creatures. They're like including things like farming and harvesting. Like
I love the idea that this is a game.
Things
like you've got a spaceship and you're like, I'm gonna ride a horse.
Yeah, but like that's one of the wild things about that game is like because you can fly from planet to planet, solar system to solar system or whatever. It's awesome to have that kind of real granularity to it, and that was like, did you ever play No Man's Sky? Either of you?
Yeah,
I did when it first came out. So my view of No Man's Sky is incredibly inaccurate to what it is today.
I think I played it about a year after release. It was like I put in a good 10 hours or so, and I just ran into the like, oh, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I did the same.
There's lots to do, but there's nothing to do.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the things, and so I'm a big fan of No Man's Sky. Obviously, being a big fan of space games, and this just seems.
I'd like to see it go. Yeah, I'd like to see it with more structure, basically. Like, I don't know if Outer Wilds. Which one is it?
Which one? Do you want exploration-y one or do you want Fallout-y one? Outer Wilds.
Yeah, so I don't know that. The description scratches the same itch. I don't even know if it's the same at all. So, yeah. That's much more directed, right?
That's so. Outer Wilds is definitely more directed, but that's more like the sort of
the
bacterial,
repetition and the treacherousness,
the tiny world inside the little bacterial growth thing in the science lab, like rather than like an infinite universe where that's like doesn't seem quite as bespokely made.
Right. I don't know. Just No Man's Sky, even if it was the infinite universe, it was still the Petri dish at the same time because there wasn't anything.
Petri dish. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
God damn it! I knew there was a word for it. I'm a writer and I'm not good with words. What are you gonna do?
We've learned to imitate you exactly.
To be honest with you, writers mostly just steal from other writers. So.
I mean,
we just combine them in different ways.
I literally have to write with a thesaurus open all the time. That's the way it works.
Just one last quick update thing. Just more Pokemon stuff. Sword and Shield.
Oh my god!
Did you see?
Sorry, but I love the wheezing. I love him so much.
The wheezing.
He looks like a bong with a fake mustache on.
So they've got Galarian form Pokemon, and the first one they showed off was this fucking wheezing with just two giant smokestack top hats and like just fucking vaping, fucking vape juice coming out, like, making this little mustache. It's so good
around his face, and it makes a mustache.
Oh, that's great.
But because wheezing is two balls sort of connected, and they've both got these pipes coming out. Yeah, my friend says he doesn't look like a bong, and I think that bongs can look like a lot of different things, and one of those things could be this wheezing.
Yeah, that's true. Some other stuff, there was like gym leader stuff. No, I don't think this one had gym leaders. It had rival stuff, so there's this fucking fancy-ass asshole-looking douche. He looks like a wanker. I love it.
I'm kind of glad about that. It's really good when you hate the rival in Pokemon.
It's good. He's got that look, which is just like, I'm, Ash, Blue was here, Ash is a coward, or whatever the fuck he writes on the side.
Smell you later.
Exactly. Oh, it's so good. And then there's some other rival who's like this goth chick who, I don't know, she seems more alternative to me, but whatever. But she's just sort of like cool looking or whatever. But then there's this, apparently the evil team in this game is just standing her.
They just want her to win. Like, that's their whole thing.
Fandom. Like, oh man, I guess the enemy team is toxic fandom. I love it.
I really don't like their name though. Their name is
Team Yell. What a stupid name.
Sorry, what?
And
they're called Team Yell. But I mean,
they're always Team something kind of thing.
So you had like Team Galactic and Team whatever. And
we had Team Skull in Sun and Moon.
Team Skull was
cool.
They
were the best.
They were such giant dorks.
They were just the dorkiest dorks. I saw a meme of like the leader. And he was doing the whole like, I'll kick your ass, I'll kick my dog's ass, I'll kick my own ass. And like at the time I didn't know that was a meme, and I was playing the game, and I fully believed that he said it because it just felt so in character.
They were
the shit.
That game is looking so weird to me because it's like every time they lose me, they just pull me back in with some bullshit. I'm just like, okay, I'm in.
I really don't like the Pikachu clone that they've got this round. I think it was like called Morpeko or something.
I don't know. It has a hangry mode.
Which is very relatable.
That's true.
But I feel very attacked.
Yeah. I don't know.
But also, it just feels like way too cash grabby millennial, and its design just looks shit. I don't know. I'm not loving a lot of these designs.
They just keep making fake Pikachus, which is kind of.
Well, they've done
that every generation. Yeah. So.
Yeah, they've done that every generation, so you expect it. And like some of them I've liked in the past. Like I thought Pachirisu was cool. I liked Emolga.
I'm still a Marils fan.
I liked Dedenne.
Oh yeah, Dedenne's cool.
I didn't like him at first, but then I saw him in the anime, and he's like this little bean that gets mad when you don't let him sleep, and I was like, yeah.
Just relatable.
But I don't like this one. It just looks like a blow-up Pikachu doll that's been painted funny.
What do you both think as seasoned Pokemon fans, veterans of the Pokemon scene? What do you think of the theory that Pokemon lose their allure slightly because they keep coming out with fucking new ones, so they kind of feel a bit disposable?
I don't necessarily agree. I think it's just that people like new stuff is always. It doesn't have that benefit of being familiar. That's the long and the short of it, I think.
The thing that I think's really cool about Pokemon is almost everyone you talk to has a different favorite Pokemon. So a Pokemon that I have thought was like a really bad design or unimpressive or just boring for whatever reason is someone else's favorite Pokemon.
I think
it's so easy to write them off.
How many people do you think love Trubbish?
I think there's people out there who love Trubbish.
There are absolutely people who love Trubbish.
He's cute. Like, I was thinking about this actually because Dave Milner put his editorial up from when Pokemon Go first came out.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And it was just this little beautiful piece of writing, which was just sort of like this really intense sense of community that came out because suddenly people you could see in real life were like, dude, I fucking love Pokemon. Like, there's fucking thousands of us. and I was actually in Japan when Pokemon Go first came out.
Oh, wow.
So I was just riding around the Japanese countryside on my bike catching Pokemon.
That's awesome.
And that
would have been amazing.
It was like the first, like, I was just about to leave my little country town and I was just like, well, it's time to go explore places I just have never gone to because it's just like a residential area or whatever. But like, just riding around on my bike, being like, oh, this is what they were trying to capture.
That's awesome.
It's so cool. And
it's I don't think that Pokemon gets diluted the more get released. I think for some people, I guess if your favorite was one that doesn't end up featuring later on, that would kind of suck. But I feel like
they do pull some out, don't they? Do they
I think the
recycle
generation
them, or?
they do, like, you know, old Pokemon will turn up in the new region or whatever, just because they're like.
But like, not all of them.
Yeah,
like,
it's
that's
just
one
some
of the
of
things that fans are really upset about in this game. Like, they keep calling Game Freak lazy because they haven't put like all 1,000 fucking Pokemon in this game.
Wow.
But I think there's a generational aspect to it too, which is really interesting because I talk to my younger cousins and stuff, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, I fucking love Pokemon," like, but they love their Pokemon. They love the Pokemon that they entered the world with, basically. You know, that's this really, like, it's one of the few franchises that is that ongoing, that has that sort of sense. Like, obviously, you know, you got Zeldas, you got Marios, and people come out and say that I like this game or whatever. I like this specific iteration of the thing. But I think Pokemon has this, like when we talk about Pokemon generations, we actually are talking about straight up Pokemon generations with
of people.
The people who like came up with it. You know, you've got Gen 1ers, and then you've just got people who are like, I came in Black and White, I came in like Sun and Moon. That's like exciting.
People criticize some of the new designs, and I criticize designs all the time because I care a lot about this kind of stuff. But there are designs from every generation that are stupid.
And there are generations that are amazing.
Right? And people are like, oh my god, they're running out of ideas. There's this cream Pokemon. And I'm like, have you seen a Voltorb?
Literal pile of slime Pokemon from the first generation.
Have you seen a Voltorb?
Yeah.
Like, Gen 1, it's a fucking ball.
Voltorb is a rad design.
Voltorb is literally a fucking Pokeball. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm just angry they haven't made a Pokemon Snap. Motherfuckers. They've got so many Pokemon. Make a new Pokemon Snap.
God damn it. I would totally play a Pokemon Snap. God damn it.
Oh my god. It would be so cool.
But I do kind of, like, question, as much as I just said, you know, all designs are good to someone, and like there's always been bad designs, but like, why'd they make that cream thing? They know about porn. Like, they know.
That ice cream one. Yeah, there's 2 ice cream Pokemon now. Or is it like cake Pokemon and ice cream Pokemon? I don't remember.
Yeah, no, the other one's
delicious.
So like, its actual description was something along the lines of like, the better the relationship with its trainer, the tastier its cream is.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, because like it's meant to be like a Pokemon that is like
secretes this or whatever,
coveted by sous chefs and things like that, like pastry chefs.
God damn.
And yeah, so there's definitely going to be. I would put money on this, right?
What the fuck?
But
there will be an episode.
Wait, just think about it though. Like, what's the difference between that and a cow? You're just fucking drinking cow shit. What's up with that? Like, what are you doing? Fucking weirdos? Goddamn humans.
Yeah, but like, the cow milk doesn't get tastier the friendlier I am with
it does cow. Though. The better the cow is raised, the better milk it makes.
I don't like the turn that this is taking.
Anyway, there's going to be an episode. No, I have to put this on the record, okay? I have to.
Attend Professor Plum's courses. Let's go.
There's going to be an episode. This Pokemon's called El Creamy. There's going to be an episode where Team Rocket steal an All Creamy because one of them will reveal their long life dream of becoming a pastry chef.
It's James.
Which they've always had.
James has always wanted to be a pastry chef. That's already in the thing.
No, I don't think pastry chef. They've wanted to be other kinds of chefs.
He always wants to be something.
And Meowth's going to be on board because, you know, presents for the boss.
Yeah.
So, like, no matter what, they're all going to go in, they're going to steal this All Creamy, but then they're going to find out that its cream doesn't taste good because they're not friends with it, so, like, it's sad, so it's got this sour, awful cream.
I want to clip this, and, like, when the episode comes out, that is exactly this plot
Wait
line.
for it. And then, so they're gonna realize this, and Meowth's gonna be all like, "Oh man, no, it's not working. We've got to make El Creamy feel good and happy so that it gets better cream." So then the rest of the episode's gonna be Team Rocket trying to please All Creamy while while Alcremie basically waits for like the twerps to show up and rescue
that
it.
presented in the style of like a Roadrunner-esque sketch show could be really amazing.
Well, you're in luck there because Sun and Moon has been really fucking good at the comedy. Like Sun and Moon is actually a really great anime, honestly. Like
it's very cute.
Yeah, it's a fun side screen distraction.
Although I don't know, like I'm sick of the school.
Oh yeah,
like,
it's a bit.
I'm not at the end of it yet, so like I don't know how far off I am. But like,
I think it's a nice.
And I hate Togedemaru.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, he's annoying.
Like I hate their oak so much.
He sounds so dumb.
Like, and like every time he says something,
cool.
he puts
Kikui's so rad.
Kikui's cool.
He's got
but
abs.
Yeah, every time he says something. the oak character's face will he'll make a pun about a Pokemon and his face will change into that Pokemon and I hate it so much. It's the worst thing ever happened.
So they're at the Alolan Pokemon League and I've been like looking at a couple of forums and stuff and people are doing salty betting on whether Ash will get through, which I think is the funniest shit. It's so good.
Well, Ash never wins.
But maybe it's his final time, and people are like posting about it as if it was like a serious UFC match or something. It's so good.
Man, I kind of like that you never know how far Ash is gonna get.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like one of those animes. Like, Pokemon's trash, but I love it.
Yeah.
But like, you know, in so many other things, you know that the main character's gonna win.
Yeah.
But with Ash, you kind of don't.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that. I think
nice. You know that he's going to lose and you'll be super surprised if he does win. So.
Yeah, but like you don't know when he's going to lose.
Yeah.
You don't know how far he's going to get. Sometimes he gets knocked out really soon.
He's going to lose all the time.
Well, Sun and Moon has some cool shit with the finale of it in the game that was like just has really good musical call, but like it has an incredible orchestral version of the main Pokemon theme at the end of it, which is just really cool. I'm looking forward to hearing that again.
Hey,
yeah,
you've watched the anime, right?
Yeah.
I'm in. So they had their first intro, and now they've got their second intro where it's like under the Alolan Moon instead of in the sun.
Are you at Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, or not at that yet?
I don't know.
Like, how many episodes in are you? Are you at like 50 something or?
I don't know. I'm watching it on Netflix. They're still at the school. Yeah. They've dealt with Ultra Beasts.
Oh, did they deal with the whole team whatever thing? The what's that bloody corporation? Aeon? I don't know. I forget what the thing is.
They did, but like I don't know. And like Nebby's gone now.
I think you're in maybe the second. Like you're in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Basically, is like the second
I think so. Yeah. Anyway, the theme music for this one sounds like an R&B song from the 90s. No, but. And I don't mean that in the sense that it sounds like it could be. I mean, I swear to God, there's an R&B song from the 90s which is this.
It might be like it might have fallen into a use library, you know, like one of those audio networks or something like that, and someone has just taken it and slapped Pokemon lyrics on top of it because I'm pretty sure the English version has a completely different theme song. Like, well, they usually do, but yeah.
Yeah, I swear to God, and I've been racking my brain trying to find out what it is, but obviously you don't know, so
Gold and
that's
Silver
fine.
theme song was the best, by the way.
Sorry?
Gold and Silver English theme song was the best, by the way. So good.
Oh, it's a whole new world.
Yeah, it's a whole new world.
We're still going to catch them all.
Speaking of gold,
Johto.
Speaking of gold, Gears 5 went gold.
It's gone gold,
which means
James is trying to rescue the conversation, but we won't let him.
Which means it's
not
development finished, but it's just heading off for certification. I'm pretty sure. Gold.
I thought it meant development finished.
I've always found like going gold announcements in this day and age to be kind of weird because they back in the day it always
used to be that was when
like,
they printed the disc.
That's it. We're done. It's on a master disc now. This is the disc that we're sending off to be printed, and that's what's going to.
Now you're going to get patches every day of the week, but up to the day of release.
Going gold doesn't really mean much. It just means it may as well be yay. We hit our development goals for Friday.
It's still a symbolic victory, I think.
I suppose.
It's just like a win, a milestone.
I mean, it comes out about a month from now. It's September 10. So it's good that it's gone gold. Like you kind of want a AAA game like that to be gold.
Yeah, I want to bring up the calendar and see what's on the horizon. Isn't Control out really soon? Like in 2 weeks or something?
Control
is
weeks? Out in a couple of weeks, I think. Is that like 28th of August or something along those lines?
27th by my calendar.
There you go.
I'm angling for... actually, this is like... the thing with the calendar that I built is that it's just set to probably US release time, so I'm not actually sure what date it is locally.
That's fair.
I'm excited for Astral Chain. I've been angling for pre-release from Nintendo Australia, but they're not really cooperating, so who knows what's going to happen.
What a surprise.
Nintendo Australia are not cooperating.
They're not. Yeah. Whatever. They've got stuff to do.
They do.
Man, I was so wilded out that there's like Catherine Full Body is coming out. Like, haven't they released that game enough times?
I think they only released it the one time, and then they just happened to have like PC releases and stuff.
I swear they released like a special edition after the initial release.
It's out.
And now they're releasing it again, and there's an extra Catherine.
Yeah. With a Q, I think. I'm looking forward to River City Girls. I'm looking forward to River City Girls on the 5th. Oh, God, September is just packed. Jesus.
Don't go too far in, because we'll do another cast.
Yeah, that's true.
September is like
calm down,
full
son.
video games. We're still in the ramp up right now, but the drip feed has started.
We'll see if I can finish. We'll see if I can finish Fire Emblem. Actually, Necro Barrister came out last Thursday, which I need to check out at some point.
Wait, what? Did it?
Necro. Well, it was slated for the 8th. I didn't see any news about it, but it was very small.
I saw no news about it.
And I feel like
it might have been delayed, actually. I haven't checked with Knock. I'll have to ask him. Or just check the PR.
If that game is out, then I
feel
need to play it.
I feel like Australian Twitter would be on fire when that game comes out.
That's kind of...
Yeah, you're right. I didn't see any news about it, so that might have been the old date and it slipped or something.
That's something to keep an eye out for, though. Necro Barista. Something I saw at PAX Australia last year. Was it the year before?
Oh, I forgot to email those guys about the speaking simulator code.
Oh, that's something
I saw at PAX. That looked like...
Oh, I played it. I did not like that game. I can appreciate what it is.
It looked like, talking
it's
quap.
Quap for a mouth.
Talking quap.
I think that's going to wrap it up, I think, for us.
So
there's a couple of recommendations here.
Yes.
Patrick.
I've got...
13 Minutes to the Moon.
Yeah, it's a great podcast by the BBC at the moment. It's basically... It was running in the week up to the moon landings, basically, but I've only just started listening to it. It's a dude who worked at NASA for a while, now works for the BBC, and then he went back to NASA and talked to a whole bunch of people who were on the Apollo program, a whole bunch of mission controllers. We're lucky enough that a lot of the people who worked on the Apollo project are still alive, so there's lots of in-person interviews, archival footage, just sort of placement of the last terrifying 13 minutes to land on the moon, and then sort of like the entire history of the Apollo program and how it got to that point where they could have 13 minutes to land on the moon. And that's just... I love space shit, and I especially love the Apollo program, so it's just...
No, that sounds super cool.
It's fascinating.
I might need to listen to that. I'm a big podcast fan, so I think I'll be having a crack at that. What's that called? 13 Minutes to the Moon.
Yeah.
Check that out. And Hope, is this yours?
Yeah.
Snow?
It
has been cold here recently.
Thunder snow in southwestern New South Wales, I think.
Well, I went to snow last month.
Ooh.
I just went to like local snow.
It's cold.
It was not slopes like you could toboggan, but there was no skiing or anything because we didn't go that far.
Tobogganing's pretty fun though.
But it was the absolute tits.
Yeah, snow rules.
I got to walk around and my feet sunk into the snow, and then it was amazing. I come from Perth originally, so basically
hot.
The desert.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen me in person, I'm not built for that kind of weather. No. I suit the snow a little bit better. But yeah, it was just like this childlike wonder, and I went with good friends and we threw snow at each other, and it was exactly as magical as Christmas movies have led me to believe it would be.
Yeah, when you don't have to deal with ploughing or any of that shit, it's so good.
Yeah.
Not everything from your childhood was a lie.
Sorry?
Not everything from your childhood was a lie.
Correct. But this is one of those things that my parents promised to take me to snow as a kid for my birthday one year, and it obviously never happened. So I did that myself, like everything else. But yeah, it was truly magical, and I highly recommend, if you've been sleeping on snow, get to it.
First, don't sleep on snow. It's very cold. Put something between you and the snow. But
at one point I had to take my pants off in the snow because I was wearing thermal underwear underneath my jeans, but they kept falling down inside my jeans. And so it was just to the point now where my brain was gonna fucking snap off if I didn't take my pants off that second. So I took my shoes off, and then I took my socks off, and then I put my foot on the snow, and I was like, that's not happening. So because snow's really cold. Yeah. So I'm balancing on my shoes, standing on them, and took my jeans off, and my jacket was long enough that I wasn't indecent exposing anyone, and I've got some serious winter leg hair, so anyone who sees me is just gonna think I'm a yeti in the snow anyway. And then I took my thermal's off, and I managed to get my jeans back on and everything else back on without like frostbiting myself. And then my thermals became a scarf.
Nice.
So even though I had some turmoil in the snow, I still highly recommend it.
It's good.
Survival tips with Hope.
I don't know if you were just in the toboggan level snow, right? You didn't go to the slopes?
Correct.
Yeah, snow.
I didn't go to the
fucking love snowboarding, so I'm going to try and do that at some point in the future.
I am going to do next year. The friends that I went with this year, they came with me because I pretended it was a birthday thing. Kind of was. And I like rented a car and everything, and we all went together, and we're all like, this was the best day of our lives. So We're going to rent like a cabin or something next year.
Fantastic recommendation.
How cool.
Yeah.
I don't have a recommendation this
Anything
week.
to recommend?
No, nothing at all, because I've literally just been face first in Rebel Galaxy Outlaw for the past 2 weeks. Although this is extremely boring, but I'm going to because I've just been like, I just very quickly started browsing Twitter, and like there's been some crazy shit happening in the world of Formula One. Fucking driver moves happening. One driver has been demoted back to his old team, and they're moving up a young like rookie driver up to their fucking A team. So like Alex Albon is now going to be driving for Red Bull.
They're putting a prodigy up there, basically.
They are, yeah.
Like replacing an older driver, drama.
No, they're replacing a younger driver who started there. He started there at the start of the year, and he's been underperforming. And so they only gave him like 6 months, and they've just put him back in the junior team again. And they've just got like a literal rookie is now. He's been in Formula One for 6 months. What the fuck? Anyway, no one gives a fuck about Formula One.
No, that's not true. You should talk to old F1 guys.
But this is blowing my goddamn mind. So on that note, Hope, Patrick, what the fuck do we do? How do we close these things off? I don't remember. You can email
social
us.
Media?
You can email us at vgst@videogamers.com. You can find us on Twitter also at VGST podcast. And Hope, where are you at on Twitter?
I am at Hope_Corrigan on Twitter.
Patrick? At Gintor_AU.
Rad, and you can catch me at J_Swimbanks. You should definitely not follow me or listen to anything I have to say on Twitter. And tell all your friends about our lovely little podcast, Video Game Small Talk.
And give us a rating on whatever you listen to us on, because it helps.
Do that.
Ratings,
that's always
5
fun.
stars.
Thanks so much for listening, everybody. We will see you in a couple of weeks' time for another episode of Video Game Small Talk.
Laters.
Bye.